In March 2013, I decided to reread Paradise by Toni Morrison. The first time I read that book was in 2002 when I first arrived in Norway, and I remember I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anything to do. The only thing I did at that point was learning Norwegian. I learned Norwegian at an institute, a subsidiary of the University of Bergen. And also, I read a lot of books. I wrote a lot about my life, and I did a scrapbook / diary where I talked about my life, and where I also, as I read Paradise, I took notes because I was so interested in the book, in the dynamics that was presented to me in an entirely different way from what I had already known about Toni Morrison. First time I heard of Toni Morrison was, let me see, I was going to say 20 years ago, but it's got to be more. The year was 1994, I believe. Maybe 3. Song of Solomon was the book that we were supposed to read for an assignment at the university. And I remember falling in love with the way that she wrote, but I was always so busy with schoolwork. When you go to college, one of the things that people don't seem to realize, and people seem to put down all sorts of courses, such as somebody that studies literature or studies languages in college. They say, oh, that's, anybody can learn a language, anybody can read a whole bunch of books. But that requires a lot of time, and it requires a lot of reading, so much reading. And it's every bit as demanding as any other course, as any other profession. Being a teacher, learning how to teach a language, learning how to teach literature, it's every bit as demanding as anything else. So it was 1994, and it's been quite some time since then. I'm an entirely different person now from comparing who I was back then. But here I was, 2002, in Norway, reading Paradise. So, 11 years later, I decided to read Paradise again. A friend of mine and I read it together. It was the first time for him, but it was my second time around reading Paradise. And then we went on to read Mercy. And then I just started reading every single book by Toni Morrison. I read Scylla, Song of Solomon again. I went and read The Bluest Eye and Beloved, of course. These are all books that are here right now. Love, Home, Bluest Eye. Where's Beloved? Beloved. A document just fell in the garbage bin. That is just too dangerous, having documents near the garbage bin. Anyway, Beloved. Where are the other ones? Where's Paradise? Right here at the bottom of this pile of books. I have a lot of books in here. So I just started reading one Toni Morrison book after another. And I made a variety of videos and live broadcasts where I had people watching me teach these books. And I mean it. I had people watch me teach these books. I just started blogging about teaching And one of the things that I said in my very first blog post was, any idiot can learn a language. Harsh? Yes. It is harsh to say it like that, but it's true. You throw somebody who's completely ignorant, who knows nothing about language acquisition, who has never been to college or even finished high school, doesn't matter what this person has as an academic experience, you throw this person in a country where they are required to learn the language, they will sooner or later, in a lot of cases it's much later, after being in that country for many years, they will learn the language. It is true. Any idiot can learn a foreign language, but only a precious few can teach it. And I'll continue to say this because teaching a language requires something that it is a talent, and you need to have the right techniques, and you need to know what to demand from the people you're teaching. You need to know how to present the material. You need to make sure that the students are interested in what you're saying. And you have to make sure that the students are inspired to learn. I'm going to close the door because I hate the noise that's coming in. I refuse to restart this video because I'm just so fired up to talk about this. So this is what, let me see if all the books are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that's true. So these are the books that I read last year, 2013. I read a lot more than these, but these are the ones by Toni Morrison. Song of Solomon, Jazz. I read Jazz a couple of times. It's a fantastic book. Paradise, Love, Scylla, Home, The Bluest Eye, one of my very favorites, Beloved, A Mercy, and last but not least, I started reading Tar Baby, and I went as far as the beginning of chapter 4. And I am now reading this again. The beauty of the body of work by Toni Morrison, to me and to every person of color in the world, is to feel validated. You can feel validated by the words that are in there. When you feel like you're not alone in your feelings of how unfair society is towards people of color. And I have encountered many times people who do not have an experience with racism of any sort, people who haven't witnessed it, and who have lived their lives, who have lived their lives as white people of average income, average education, and they have traveled through life in an uneventful journey where they felt very safe, where they felt nothing towards racism, not one way or another, because they weren't presented with it in any way. And these are the people when, at one point in their lives, having had no experience with racism, discrimination whatsoever, when they finally encounter somebody who has that sort of experience, when they witness racism for the first time, they are shocked and they don't know what to do. But the experiences of the characters created by Toni Morrison in these books, they are so real to me, so absolutely real to me. I can feel the same pain. I can feel that feeling of, damn it, that was so unfair. Or a feeling of recognition in some of the characters. I'm being very vague in general about this stuff, but I intend to make a lot of videos where I will be very intense and I'll go into the work in detail. What I want to talk about today is that I'm this year revisiting some of the books that I read last year by Toni Morrison, and I read a lot of other books. Last year I read Cannery Row. I also read a collection of short stories by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I read a variety of plays as well. I read A Streetcar Named Desire again. I read The Picture of Dorian Gray again. I actually reread a lot of the books that I read in college. And often enough, people will go to college, they will spend their 4 or 5 years in college, and then maybe they will land a job doing something completely different with their lives. And all of a sudden, everything that they learned in college means nothing to them anymore. And they just leave that experience behind like they've never been there. Like that's not even a part of who they are. I say that experience should follow you throughout your life, and you should somehow use the knowledge that you acquired in college in your life, in your everyday life. And I've been fortunate enough. Of course, I know I'm never going to be rich, okay, as a teacher. Come on, get real. I know I'm never going to be rich, but to me, the most rewarding experience on the planet is to feel that the time I spent in college, 5 years in Brazil, and then went to Australia 1997, 1998, all of that has been worth it. I'm using this in my life right now. The techniques I learned, how to teach kids, how to teach adolescents, how to teach adults, how to teach little children, how to understand the psychology of their brains, how to understand how they perceive the world, so that when I'm teaching them a language, I know how they're processing it. So all of this, I've been so fortunate to be able to use this in my work. And this is what I'm doing right now. I have been teaching at a school. I've been teaching 8th, 9th, and 10th grade Spanish and also English as foreign languages. So everything that I have ever studied and all the experience I had 12 years teaching in Brazil at a binational center where kids would go twice a week to learn English and the culture of the United States. Plus the variety of schools where I taught. I taught between kids from the ages of 2 all the way to 10, 11. I taught 6th grade and 5th grade in 1991, 1992. I taught all throughout my college years. I was a student teacher. Parallel to my studies, I was teaching. So I'm very fortunate to have this experience. I'm making these videos for YouTube. I'm documenting my life. And in many ways, I feel like somebody's going to be watching this one day, and they will know, that is Pollyanna. She was my teacher. She was so cool, and she was so great, and I learned so much from her. Or maybe they'll go, oh my god, that bitch. I really could not stand her. But if they're watching the video, that means that they're curious about it somehow. They wanted to see whatever happened to her, or what the hell is this all about, or Look who it is, that bitch. Still, you can never really please everybody in the world, but you can make an impact in someone's life. Whether it is that they will love you and accept you for who you are, or they will never get you and never understand who you are. And one day, that's the objective of having my life documented in video. Maybe one day this will serve a purpose. Okay, so this is who she was. That's what she was talking about. She was for real. And I'm really fortunate. I'm really fortunate to be able to have had the experiences I've had, so I want to share them. I might have to start an entirely new video just to talk about the books, and this can be just one of those videos where I talk about my life. I'm making a series of those, and I think that they will be worth watching one day, maybe after I'm gone. Or maybe one day if I lose my mind or if I have Alzheimer's, I can watch these and go, okay, so that's who I was. That's who I am. That was a horrific joke about Alzheimer's. I shouldn't be joking about this, but let us put it into perspective. I think that this is one of my biggest fears, losing my memory and not being able to recollect and reminisce over the life that I've lived. If this were to happen to me, I would like to be able to recognize who I was and how my life was. So yes, I'm gonna finish this and upload it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name it, but it's going on my YouTube channel.